Anthony Edwards was 3 years old when his father gave him the nickname Ant-Man. He was dominant on the football field, where many thought his future was at the time. But little did they know the young athlete would become an NBA star and the face of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Edwards has famously said he could have been an NFL football player, but chose basketball at age 10 because he thought it looked more fun. He said he instantly fell in love with the game, but imagine if Edwards stuck with football and never tried basketball. Luckily, Timberwolves fans don't have to worry about that. Coming out of college, scouts said Edwards lacked passion or didn't have that killer instinct. The athleticism was clearly there, but could that translate into the NBA? The Timberwolves took a chance on the young kid and took him first overall in the 2020 NBA draft. In his 4th season, Edwards has continued to improve each year. Currently, the Edwards-led Wolves are sitting on the top of Western Conference. The improvement has been steadying each year, but the most important improvement has been on the defensive side of the ball. He still has room to grow, but compared to his rookie season, Edwards is significantly better. In his past interviews, Edwards has made many bold claims. The most noteworthy was his response when asked if he could one day be the face of the NBA. He responded by saying, "Oh yeah, 100%. Sure. I mean, it comes with time and it comes with work and dedication. I feel like I got all 3 of those things and I feel like it's going to take me over the top." He also clarified his timeline to accomplish this goal when asked if he still needs time to enter the best player in the league conversation. He responded that he needs another year, and after that, he will be in the best player conversation. To the average NBA fan, this claim may seem crazy at face value. Edwards is currently only 22 years old. He hasn't made a single All-Star team yet. He also hasn't even won a single playoff series yet. However, there are still a lot of things working in his favor that point to the possibility of him one day becoming the NBA's premier star. First off, Edwards possesses one of the most important factors that the NBA looks for when trying to market players. That is his superstar personality. Edwards was drafted first overall back in 2020, so he hasn't been in the league very long. However, his charisma instantly helped him to enter the conversation for the most likable player in the NBA. He's already had countless quotable moments and highlight-worthy interviews. His most notable interviews include the time he humorously bragged about how he could go pro in any sport. On a separate occasion, he talked about how he named his dog Anthony Edwards Jr. after himself. Unfortunately, personality alone isn't enough to make a player the face of the NBA. If this were the case, then the current face of the league might be everyone's favorite friendly giant Boban Marjanovic. Instead, a player must possess the right blend of talent, work ethic, and personality to ascend to the top of the NBA's pecking order. Luckily for Edwards, he already has a nice mix of all those things. So far in his young career, Edwards has been playing at a record-setting pace. He set the record for the most made threes ever by a player before age 21 at 386. This is more than 74 made threes above second place and above stars such as LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and Devin Booker. In a league that is hyper-focused on high-volume three-point shooting, Edwards' elite shooting ability bodes well for his future. With over 5,000 career regular season points, Edwards also has the 4th most points scored by a player before the age of 22. This puts him behind only LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Carmelo Anthony, 3 of the top wing scorers of all time. Edwards also stepped up during the playoffs and looked like the real deal. In his last series against the Denver Nuggets, he upped his scoring average to 32 points per game with a terrific efficiency of 48% from the field over 5 playoff games. It may be a small sample size, but he's also currently 3rd all-time in playoff three-pointers made per game. The other 2 players to average more in their playoff career are Stephen Curry and Luka Doncic. Edwards' extreme confidence has benefited his game as well as he already carries himself like a star on the court. He's as fearless as any young player we've ever seen. He's not afraid to take the big shot or talk trash to the opposing team's star. Not to mention his elite athleticism leads him to pull off some of the most jaw-dropping dunks in the league. All this combined with the fact that wing players have been dominating the league for the past decade, plus is certainly working in Edwards' favor. Now, even with everything Edwards has going for himself, he's still far from a lock to become the future face of the league. Assuming the current face of the league is still LeBron James or Steph Curry, then Edwards will have a ton of competition in the future. The most notable being current NBA superstars are Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Nikola Jokic. Giannis, Jokic, and Doncic are still 28 and 23 respectively, and already much more accomplished than Edwards. Giannis and Jokic are both NBA champions, NBA Finals Most Valuable Players, with multiple NBA All-Star selections. Both have 2 regular season MVP awards and All-NBA selections. Doncic is already a 4-time All-Star, a 4-time All-NBA first-team member, and after 28 career playoff games, he's currently second all-time in playoff points per game at 32.5. This puts him behind only Michael Jordan at 33.4, arguably the greatest player of all time. Giannis, Jokic, and Doncic possess the same level of superstar charisma that Edwards has as well. So, simply put, it will be extremely difficult for Edwards to one day surpass one of those 3 to become the premier face of the league. Not to mention there are still other young stars like Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton that are also fighting for their place in the NBA's hierarchy of elite young players. Overall, it seems clear that Edwards possesses the personality, talent, and work ethic required to potentially develop into the future face of the NBA. But unfortunately, he's not the only young player who does. The NBA is full to the brim with young talents that continues to establish themselves season by season. As of right now, it's hard to bet against players such as Giannis, Doncic, and Jokic sitting atop the league for the next decade. If Edwards even wants to enter this discussion, he'll not only have to have a breakout season, but he'll need to start leading the Timberwolves to some much-needed playoff success. So, all things considered, it's unlikely Edwards ever ends up the sole face of the NBA. Nonetheless, we certainly can't count out someone who calls himself the most confident person in the world. How many NBA players have all these 3 qualities? Insane athletic ability, great leader and teammate, and entertaining simultaneously. The list is tiny, and that might be overestimating it. Regardless, Edwards is extraordinary because he has a unique ability to ball out on the court and entertain off. You might be thinking, well, why does that matter? It matters because you need all 3 characteristics to be the face of a franchise or even the NBA. The Timberwolves' ceiling will go as high as Edwards decides. He will either bring them their first NBA title or Minnesota will have another disappointing season. The ball lies in his court.